Today I want to talk about something pretty specific. And honestly, this is like more of a reflection than like a strict talking point, I guess. And it's this idea of inaction being a decision in itself. And I think this applies to a lot of people these days. And I do not fall short of this. I feel that like everyone's gone through a point in their life where like they've hesitated, they've had a moment of apprehension, they've doubted themselves, and it's had a negative effect on them, on their life, whether it's in professional endeavors or academic endeavors or romantic endeavors. You have this moment where you doubt yourself and you're like, oh well, what's the risk of taking the decision, or what's the risk of making this move? And there's nothing wrong with being kind of methodical with how you approach life, but the idea of just sitting around and waiting, basically waiting to die, is something that I think leads to just absolute, you just feel bad. And maybe I'm projecting, but at least for me, when I do certain things, it's not really like, oh, I want to get that done, or I want like this, or it's more like the stick rather than the carrot for me, of like, I have to do something. I have to do something. Like I go stir crazy. Like and it's not like I'm always a 24/7 on the go. I'm just saying like when I don't do things, it legitimately leads to negative feelings. It's the only time I ever feel like any type of, I would say, like anxiety or whatever, is when I'm not taking consistent action in anything. Honestly, it can be in like even something that maybe no one cares about but you. So like for me, it was running. I've done I think like 6 marathons and stuff like that. And again, no one really cares about those races, but I care. I wanted to do them and I trained for them and I did it for me. I don't care if anyone, it doesn't matter if anyone cares about it or not. I know I did it. And I think you should approach things that way, because like not doing something is just, it carries its own kind of consequences rather than just taking that step. And it doesn't have to be something as, I wouldn't say as meaningless, but as like unimpactful as running or working out and something like that. It could be something as like, oh, I've wanted to start this business and like I really want to work for myself and make something of myself that maybe not everyone thinks I can do. But you start to think, well, what are people going to think? Well, it's hard, and like, what if I fail, and all these different things. And these things are, everyone's situation is different, and of course you have to think of the risks, but not doing it is also a decision. It's also a decision. You don't just like get to stand still in time and like everything's the same as it was. You don't just get to wait around 3 years and then you're still 24. I'm 24. You're still 24, and things are just the same. Things change. Maybe you don't want to start that business today, and you're 21, and you're thinking about it. You're thinking about it. You're thinking about it. You're thinking about it. And then at 25, 26, you're like, okay, I need to do this. Okay, but now you have other responsibilities. Maybe you're in a relationship. Maybe you have a child. Maybe you're like in a contract at work or something like that. Now there's a lot more baggage to stop you. And there's people that, I all power to them, make like this decision to change their trajectory in life at like in their mid 30s. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm just saying like the opportunity cost of fear is consequential. It's consequential. It would be like if you just wait to start a race years after the gun goes off. There's no benefit to that. Sure, if in some extreme circumstances you legitimately cannot take the risk, but in a lot of these things, we're in a first world country, and a lot of these things, like, you can do it. You can try. Maybe you fail. Maybe no one sees anything you're doing. Maybe you try to start, I don't know, contracting business and it goes belly up in 6 months. Maybe. But then at least. You're like, all right, well, I tried that and it didn't work. Maybe you want to be an actor and you're like, I'm going to go do like 50 auditions, and maybe you get none. All right, who cares? Or you want to be a comedian and you try for a year, or anything you want to do. I've actually spoken to people that have told me that they've wanted to do like Instagram reels, Instagram skits, those kind of things for a long time and make some type of content, and that they just haven't done it. And this isn't just like one or two people. I've known a bunch of people that have kind of like, taken a step in the right, and honestly including myself because I've been slacking. And this is what I mean, but I'm also talking to myself. Like, inaction is a decision in itself. I think I posted like a month ago, and like, it's not like I'm back in, I don't know, I forgot what it was, June, and it's the same. It's like you have to keep like at it, even though things happen, you know. Even if you lose some confidence, even if maybe things don't line up, maybe you have a few interviews planned that didn't go through. But you have to just keep going, because, I mean, what other choice do you have, Maybe things get like hard, but if you just sit around, and I know I'm being a little dramatic when I say this, but I honestly do picture it like this. I'm like, you're sitting around and you're waiting to die. Like, I don't know, for me, like, I'm 24. I feel like this is it. This is the prime of my life. I'm never going to feel as good as I do now every day. Like, I'm extremely grateful to wake up a lot. I feel like, and almost to like if I don't do, and I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm just saying, like, almost to a negative point where I'm like, I have the most power I've ever had in my life, like, in terms of energy and recovery, whatever it is. And if I don't get something done, I almost feel like I'm religious. Like, God's given me a gift and I'm throwing it away. I really feel like that sometimes. I don't know if that's like crazy, but I mean, to me, it's just how I feel. I mean, I ran an ultra marathon last month. I didn't really want to run it. It wasn't like I woke up and I was like, oh my God, like, it's been my dream, blah, blah, blah. It was more like, I'm a young man. This is probably the best I'm going to ever feel. I'm going to try to do 50 kilometers. I'm going to run 30 plus miles. I'm going to do this because, like, I'm probably never going to feel as good as now. And I should do something with this, like, energy, And I don't know. I feel that this is the same reason I work out a lot. I'm like, you have to try to maintain, and I'm not perfect. I mean, I eat a lot of food, but anyway, you have to try to, like, I don't want to say be the best version of yourself. It's so corny, but like, just try to improve in some way. It doesn't really matter how, and I mean, I do other things too that kind of, like, maybe take away from that gift or whatever. I mean, I like drinking. I like having a good time every now and then, but I'm just saying, like, in general, when I was running that race, it was like 80 degrees, so hot. It was so hot. It was like a 3.1 mile loop that you had to run 10 times. So I think I was on like lap 5 or 6. And I was like, this is the worst. I was like, I'm 15 miles in. I am drenched in sweat and I feel terrible. And every lap after I think lap 6 felt terrible. Like, legitimately, I was like, what if I just pass out right here? I'm like, because it was kind of through the trails. I was like, I wonder if, like, anyone would, like, people would definitely find me. There's other racers. That's the thoughts I was thinking. And I don't know. I mean, I finished. I think 40 people signed up for that race, and like 7 or 8 of them didn't finish. They just quit. And I feel like it is, I mean, good for them. They tried. They're taking action. Even if I had failed that race, I'd still be like, all right, well, I tried. I'm doing something. I actually signed up for an ultra last year, and again, I didn't get to make it because I was being a punk. I'm not gonna sit here and like act like make excuses. I was being a punk, so I didn't make it to that race. And I thought about it, and I was like, I know no one cares that I'm running an ultra, but I care. Okay, I didn't go to the ultra. I don't think anyone gives a shit, but I care. I care that I didn't do it. Like, it really bothered me. It actually, like, I remember I was trying to sleep one day, and I was like, I can't believe I didn't run that race. I've run like 5 or 6 marathons, but I was like, I can't believe I didn't do that thing. Because it's still within reach. When something happens and you can't fix it and you have no control over it, okay, you can accept it. But when you say you're going to do X and then you don't do it, and you still have the opportunity to go out and do it, then you're like, there's no excuses. I'm just being a bitch, honestly. And so I signed up, and it was brutal. It was actually a lot harder than I thought it would be. I trained pretty hard too. I had a few 16-mile runs in there that, like, I thought would make me ready, and then out of nowhere it was pretty hot. And it's funny when you take action like that, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. When you take action like that, you do build up a little bit of confidence. You have to. I think you have to. I don't know. You guys tell me. I think you have to build up a little bit of confidence because, like, It's like 7 a.m. in some random park in the Bronx in the beginning of May, and you're just like, and I showed up, right, and I'm not like a little guy, so I'm like, and all these guys, like, I'm not trying to make fun of them or anything. I just really, this is just their type. They're like, cross country, mathlete kind of guys. Like, I did not fit in at all. I'm over here. I'm like tatted. I'm like 210. I'm just like, all right, I have like, they all have like their bars and their like salt tablets and stuff like that. And I'm over here with like Sour Patch Kids. It looked like an absolute idiot. Sour Patch Kids and Gatorade. That's all I had. And thank goodness one of the runners gave me some salt tablets and some gels. He was a B. He was a G. I don't know his name, but he was a beast. And anyway, so I felt out of place. And like, it's really easy when you're in those scenarios to be like, damn, like, am I prepared? Like, I have like 30 pounds on most of these people, maybe even 40. And I'm like, damn, like, it's hot too. But you know what? I don't know. When you take, I don't know if this is, again, this is probably one of my biggest like flaws or honestly blessings. Like, when I'm in situations like that, some delusional part of me, I don't even think it's delusional. There's nothing fake about belief. I start thinking, I'm like, I'm going to do this shit. I got it. It's in the bag. It's already done. Like, it's over. And that has gotten me some flack in my life. I can't lie. But at the same time, it's given me a lot more than it's taken from me. Me thinking like, this is going to be a good story one day. I'm already finished with the race, basically. Mentally, I'm already at the finish line. It helped me because I think it kind of casts some other doubts away. You start to think, because then you start to be like, okay, if you think you're the man, then you're going to finish the race. If you think you're a bitch, you're not going to finish. You're going to be like, oh, well, I can't do this. Like, it's hot. But if you're like, I'm the man, would the man just quit? No, you're not. As long as you don't say it out loud like a psychopath. You just got to be in your mind, like, be like, why wouldn't I finish? Like, yeah, it's hot. It's summer. It's going to be hot, And so I like to think that confidence can, as long as it doesn't get turned into something toxic, it can carry over into other endeavors. When you're, I don't know, giving a group presentation at school or at work, or talking to a new group of friends, or talking to a new group of people, coworkers, romantic partners, whatever it is. That confidence, I feel like, can carry over. Whereas, like, if you don't take that action, it's not a neutral decision. It's not like if you don't do that, like, oh, you stay right here. I feel like when you don't do that, you didn't do it because you were scared. You were scared. Like, maybe no one else knows because no one else cares and no one's watching you, but in your most private of moments that, like, oh, I didn't take that risk. I was scared. And then another risk comes up. I didn't take that risk. I was scared. And then slowly, I feel like you can start corroding your self-esteem like that. You can start being like, oh, like, because I've heard people say things like this, like, I could never do that. I'm like, what are you talking about? I used to be 270 pounds. I couldn't run half a mile. I would lie to people when they would catch me running when I was fat. And I'd be like, oh, I'm just going for a walk, bro. Like, I'm just hanging out. Because I'd be like half a mile from my house, drenched in sweat. And I'd just be dying. And my friends would pass by and they'd be like, what are you doing? And I would lie. Because I was embarrassed. I was super embarrassed. I couldn't tell my friends I was 18 and I couldn't run half a mile. Like, that's crazy talk. I remember I was a lineman in high school. And we're all fat guys as a lineman in football. I would be friends with all the linemen, and we would just talk about how being fat, like how it sucks. That's literally like half of what we would do. We would do the lineman drills, which literally means take 3 steps in one direction and 3 steps in the other direction. And then we would just talk about how being fat sucks. It's literally all we did. And I was sick of that. I was so sick of it. Not that I'm like shredded right now or anything, but like, whatever. And I was just so sick of that. I'm like, I have to take action. I don't care, by hook or by crook, I can't live like this anymore. And I do believe that gives you some confidence. I really do, because then you start to think like, well, I've done something like this before. I've maintained things before. I've gotten in shape before. I've gone to the gym 5-6 times a week for a year straight before. Like, why wouldn't I be able to do something else like this? And I think that, like, I know I'm talking just like kind of vainly right now, but this can also transfer into things that I think are very important. Like, I know some people who talk about, school and stuff like that, and they talk about it like it's it's just this unreachable thing of like, oh, it's so hard, and I know things are different for different people, but I feel like I've known some people that had a lot more potential than they thought they did. They would say things like, "Oh, I'm just not that smart. Oh, I'm just not like this." And I'm like, "No, you are that smart. You are like, you know, it's within reach. Like, maybe you're not a 4.0 student, fine. But if you were a 2.5 and now you're a 3.2, hey man, that's congrats. Like you're putting in the work. Good for you. Like that's cool. What's wrong with that? Would you make fun of like? Would you feel bad if you were like super out of shape and now you're like just a little out of shape? Like, would you make fun of that person? Do you think anyone would judge that person? So why do you make it sound that bad when it's something else like academics or even money? If you're making 30 grand a year one year and you make 45 the next year, are you really going to feel bad? Like you're moving in the right direction. I don't know. I feel like you should try to be, you should gain some confidence from taking those actionable steps. I
This video is intended for entertainment and satirical purposes only. The content shared in this video represents personal opinions and humors and is not meant to be taken as professional advice or guidance. This channel and its creators are not affiliated with any professional or educational institution. Viewer discretion is advised, and any resemblance to real events or persons is purely coincidental.